whatever. That's fine. I will pivot for one quick second because there's two other things I wanted to get to here. One is like a wish list. I thought this would be really interesting. Like if you could get one thing over the rest of this year for your e-commerce space or for direct to consumer or for the ads platform, whatever it is, I'm super curious what that might be. Now, I put a little bit of thought into this, so maybe I'll cue it up so that the two of you guys can think about something real quick.
Cheers. I
have a list. I have a list.
Oh, you know what? I will let you go for it. You got a list. I love it.
Yes, I have a list.
Give us a list.
This is stuff that all of us deal with day to day that would it would make our lives so much easier. So I'll start from the top with my best idea that I still think is like genius, but nobody seems to really care, I guess. I think that once you're spending a certain amount of money, and this is, it could be whatever, it could be 25K a day, 50K a day, 100K a month, doesn't matter. Facebook or Meta should create a system that is an invite-only system that allows you to pay Meta a retainer. Let's say it's $5,000 a month. And with that retainer, you get priority support and the most important part, manual creative reviews for every upload. That would solve so many problems that big businesses face. And as a subsidiary, it would make Meta more money because those ads that are sitting in disapproval for a week or a week and a half after they have to get their customer service rep to go to the policy team to get the ad reviewed and the whole process and shenanigans unfolds there. Instead of that, the ad gets approved, it starts spending immediately. Meta makes their money, probably 2 or 3-fold what the retainer is to the business. And the business makes money because, well, the ads that would have been deemed a gray area or a controversial area, we all know those are the ones that majority of the time make the most money because they're controversial and they thread the line of policy for better or for worse. They're the ones that make money. The business makes money. Meta makes money. That's my probably one of my best ideas that I think I've come up with is a retainer based or invite only. There's a ton of different ways you could structure it, but it should be a thing. Yeah, that's the take there. Secondly, better in-platform breakdowns for geo and demo. Like if you use the breakdown feature in Facebook, I'd like to see CPA by country if I'm using a broad ad set targeting worldwide. I don't know. I feel like that data should be there. If backend APIs can pull it, there's no excuse why Ads Manager can't show that. Yeah. Easier business manager verification. This is for all you guys out there that are just starting. If you have, let's say you're an agency right now just starting and you're doing all the right things. If you have one client that's attached to your business manager that has an ad disapproval within like a 3 or 4 week span, you cannot get your business manager verified. And therefore you cannot have proper events manager and pixel access. You can't set up 2-factor authentication, a whole host of other things that you can't. I think there's some limit on ad accounts. Like they've made the business manager verification process way too tedious and too strict on policy specifically. There's that. Lastly, auto-populate UTMs. Why can't we set a UTM specific by ad account or specific by campaign even, so that every time you duplicate a creative, you don't have to go in there and double check that Facebook hasn't removed it, or you don't have to go ahead and populate it.
Like a default apply all to the dynamic string that you could then modify if you wanted to.
100%. Those are my takes. What do you guys think is the best one, just out of curiosity?
I mean, for me personally, I like the first side because I feel like that would subsidize Facebook's adoption of more staff members to do it. I will put your last one at the very end because I don't give a fuck about UTMs. But that's just my side. I understand that some people think it's important. That's fine. That's not the way I think. That's my best and worst. It's actually your first one is the one I like the most, and the last one is the one I like the least, oddly enough. But yeah, I dig it. I dig it because I will tell you, when you spend a shit ton of money, Facebook will come to you and give you that. But it is almost arbitrary. Like there's no when you
there's no other service on the planet where you can spend $100,000 and not get support within 24 hours. Like what is that? Like that's infallible in any other market.
I think that's the big one for me as well. A couple of my clients, I have reps for a couple of my big spending clients, and for the one that's just come into my head, she's super available. for everything. Like we're on like, Zooms every other week and stuff like that. And she's fantastic. Her name's Ellie. She's probably going to watch this. Hey, Ellie.
Hey, Ellie.
Imagine buying a brand new Ferrari and then like not getting any customer support for a week.
Yeah.
Like the dealer's MIA. They won't respond to you. Oh, your tire's broken. We can't fix it. It'll take a week and a half. Like
it's very interesting. Like from the support thing, it's very interesting how bad you get treated when you're like pre-partner account versus how good you get treated when you get a partner account. Like I remember the day that mine kind of like switched over, and like 2 days later I put in a support request, and I was like treated like royalty. And like before, they're just like, the support was just such dicks to me, like in Messenger. And now, like when they have kind of see you as valuable and, you're like spending $1 million a month or whatever, they're like, oh, hello. Like we're happy to kind of like, help you. And it's what's interesting for me is like how by giving like a terrible level of support to low spenders, like how do you think they're ever going to get to be high spenders if you're not helping them? In theory, it should be the other way around, right? Like, you need amazing support when you're starting out because you're trying to scale and you're trying to understand the best way to do it. But it's, you're kind of just getting crushed.
Can I give you guys the extreme hyperbolic version of this? When the Facebook Disruptor Group started, and we were spending, I was at a brand, we were spending 30 to 50K a day. On big days, we would go over that. Health and nutrition space, like the day after Christmas, I could drop $250,000 and like 4x it. It was stupid. We had a pair of reps that came as a team to the office around 2:00 in the afternoon and would leave at the end of the day, 1 day a week. Like that was the level of support that we got to where we had internal communication devices for Facebook Workplace. To put things on like that demand. So for what it's worth, there used to be that like, oh, please put this on the list of things for people to do. And it's like senior, like you literally had access to that like checklist, it was nice. It was very nice.
Totally.
You had access to. They'd be like, here's the 40 case studies we're going to be running this week, which is basically here's the $10 million we want to give away. Does anybody feel like taking it? And it was just like yes. And it was dumb. What about you, Sammy? What that's a really good one. I gotta.
I was kind of hoping you could say yours first, Charlie.
All right, I'll say mine, and then you can bring us home. My assistant is here, so. I'll give mine. You can go, and then I'll end this with my TikTok hack, and we'll call that a nice little hour. How about that? So mine, what I would love, my wish list is a single reporting dashboard that accounted for all the paid media sources that we have, but also brought in affiliate networks and had a confidence with incremental lift measurement tool built in that could ultimately be automated to make specific budget adjustments by channel, so I could program it for weekly, monthly, quarterly business objectives. Like I'm manually right now forcing up LTV and down CPA. You know what I mean? So hi Jake. But yeah, that for me would be the greatest thing. And I've talked to some of the biggest heads of people that are doing this stuff. And that's not on the roadmap, because the honest truth is the folks spending a bunch of money, these businesses are trying to give them what they want. And what I want is what I need. And what I need is not what people want, because most people legitimately don't understand how to do this work. So that is mine. I want an incremental lift device with automation where I can bring in affiliate networks and influencer, because you give me that, I can give you a couple $2 billion a year in those fringe industries that don't have any support. So that would be mine. I hope that gave you enough time, Sam.
There's probably like one tool for like each aspect of that.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've got 4 tools and none of them talk to each other, so it's a complete mess. Like, I'm spending more time just trying to translate.
You know. We're going to this is my hypothesis. In 3 to 5 years, we're going to have a lot easier solution with data and attribution, but we're in that grace period.
I'm trying
right
to
now.
build it.
Mm.
I'll be completely
Please do.
honest.
I'll
I'm trying
be
to
the
put
first
myself out of
customer.
work. If I can build that 100%, I'll bring that to everybody and put me out of work. If I can put me out of work but get a piece of that business, believe you me, I'm going to do it. Because I don't want to work hard. I'll just take money. That sounds great. What about you, Sammy? Did that give you enough time to think of one?
No, I'm all right now. When you're making an ad and you're doing an image, you can say, here's a square image and it'll run in feeds and stuff like that. Within that same ad set, you can also go in and say, run this separate image just in stories, right? And that will consolidate into one place. It doesn't have the same function to do that with videos, right? So you kind of have to make, like, you have a square video, or like, let's just use square and rectangle, or a 1080 by 1080, like whatever. So you have a square video and a rectangle video, and sometimes Facebook, like, they do place them correctly. Like, they'll only put the rectangle in the stories and the square in the feeds. A lot of the times they don't. I would like that function to be able to go into the same, so I can just do a dynamic like ad with a couple of different variations, one square, one rectangle, or whatever, and place that in individual placements without having to kind of get this sort of, like, what we use at the moment is like this happy medium, like, sizing that kind of fits into both.
Like,
but when it comes up in a story, it still comes up with the copy. But when you do a 1080 by, when you do it, is it 9 by 16? It doesn't come up with the copy, and it looks really shit hot.
Yeah, the graphic designer almost came in to help you out.
Dynamic creative tests have had this issue since inception. I really do wish you were able to edit placements by a specific asset there.
Yeah, and with image you can, and it's great, and it works, super well. But with video you can't, and it pisses me off, to be honest. Because I don't, I like, we want the content to look as good as possible. We have the capability to make it in a 9 by 16. We have the capability of it being shot in a square. We should just be able to use both in the same while using the Power 5. That's mine.